Okay, so thanks, Catherine. So we're here to do kind of a demo session, but to give you a session in the Somatic Soul method. Thanks for being here with me.
And
So we can just dive straight in, and the way that we begin is just giving you some space to ground and arrive. So what I want to invite you to do, yeah, it might be closing your eyes, or it might be just letting your eyes take a little look around the space you're in.
yeah,
See what feels good for you. And as you let your eyes take a little look around the space, just noticing if there's anything that's pleasant or enjoyable to rest your eyes on. And that could be an object or a quality of light. Anything you notice?
yeah. Just over here, I've got some candles and rocks and shells and things like that. So I'm
Okay.
drawn to the candle today.
Okay. So maybe if you could just let your gaze rest on the candle for a little bit, and we can get curious about the candle, something about that's drawing your attention, and just maybe noticing how that is for you to just let your eyes rest on the candle. Is it lit or
No.
just there? Okay. Yeah. What do you notice about the candle right now? What stands out or what touches you?
Yeah, it's a sort of a dark burgundy colour with some lighter patterning through it. So I think it's just the blending of the colours,
Mm-hmm.
blurring of the shades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And as you take in those colors and the blending of the shades, what do you notice happening in yourself? What do you notice in your body or your breath or your sense of what's here? And it might be quite neutral. That's also quite valid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite. there's a lot. There is a calmness and a slowness, just looking
Mm-hmm.
at that's not changing. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
um, stable and yet beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a little bit of grief that's coming
Mm-hmm.
up because I bought this candle just after my dad died, and there's a bit of a
Yeah.
know there's a settling and an unsettledness that are both there, but
Yeah.
that's an okay thing.
Yeah. So there's a beauty to what you're taking in, and it's got some bittersweet associations.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I do want to say this is often happens that when we connect with something that's supportive, things like grief can move more easily. So we can check out just while we're here and we're just arriving together, just notice if that grief can be here, can have a little space. Notice if it's okay. Yeah. Just to let that have some room. Yeah. And we're always curious if grief or tears come or emotion comes. We're always curious if this is a relieving kind of emotion or if it's an overwhelming kind of emotion. So you can check that out. Yeah. Yeah. How is that? What happens for you?
I think that there is a part of me that just wants to run away from that, but there is especially with an object to focus on, it's a little bit of, no, it's okay. It is actually okay. There's there's nothing bad about this. It just is. So
right. So again, it's that two things at once. It's this is okay. Something about this is okay. Something about this is kind of has stability or has a groundedness. And then there's a kind of a
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just us arriving, and we use the environment to help us to land in present time, and also just to kind of let anything that's on the surface do its thing and move off. It often will help us to feel a little bit more present and a little bit more here.
Yeah.
And so this is the place that then we begin. So from here we can look at, if something was touched and started moving in checking out this candle, we can see if that feels like a topic you want to explore. But this is the part of the session where I like to get really clear what you would like to experience or receive in our time together. So I wonder if we could talk to that. If there's something particular you're bringing to this call.
And it's related to, but not exactly, the grief thing, I think. And that's and it's also this pulling of two oppositions. One is this really stuck feeling of nothing's changing, and the other is I need to get out of here. I need something to change. It's like,
okay.
And this, feeling like I do have resources, but they're limited resources. And it's like, you can, there's a sense of needing to ration them for the right time. And so and being ready for something to change while having this really stuck feeling, this really, I want to run away.
Yes,
so, okay. Sort of come into some sort of cohesive settledness with all of that, I think.
Okay, so tell me more about that desire. So we're wanting to come into more of a cohesive settledness. Tell me what that means to you. Like, what would that look like?
I think the tendency has been for me to either do things to feel okay right here, right now, or to do things to try and indulge that run away. And it just becomes this cycling between the two that I kind of like that cycling to stop and to have some sort of, at least be in a place where I feel like I can make a plan, have some sort of sense of reality. Does that make sense?
Right. Well, say more, because I mean I hear that, but I want to make sure I understand how you use that word.
It's like you have what you have around you, and in some senses that doesn't change in an hour session or whatever. But there's a way in which anxiety brain says there's never enough, we need to change this thing. And there's this shutdown brain that says you'll never get any more.
Yes.
And
right. Okay, I'm getting you.
And cycling between those two, there's there's something real in between that I can't quite breathe
Gotcha.
to.
Gotcha. So there's this the shutdown or the urgency, and you want to bring yourself more into something that sits in the center, and you said it something like a cohesive settledness,
Yeah,
a sense that you can make a plan, and that you said that it's based in reality, or that it will manifest, you'll step yourself into a thing that's different. I'm just wanting to tease out what that means to you.
but I'm not going to just be banging my head against a wall that's never going to,
Right.
because I'd like what's on the other side of that, but maybe I'd like, maybe that's a very, whereas I'd like to be able to see what I actually can do more than sort of keeping this sort of, but that's what I want, but that's what I want.
Yes.
And anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, because I don't know if you know this, but because I'm really holding a nervous system lens when I'm listening to you, um, I'm hearing the nervous system layer in this, and often the content that you're talking about actually gets resolved if we just pay attention to what's happening on the nervous system level, because your body, like what you're describing, that shutdown or urgency, they're both kind of, shutdown is what we do when we're overwhelmed, and I don't know how to respond. It's too much. It's too much. And then urgency is when we're in the, I gotta respond. So I'm really hearing the nervous system flavors, and I'm hanging on to this phrase that you used, cohesive settledness. So we do spend time in this getting it clear part of our session, because this is like we're painting the target right now. So partly I'm getting information about what's happening, what's your real life experience, but we're also wanting to get really clear what are we moving towards.
Yeah.
And so cohesive settledness, let's talk about that. And cohesive settledness, is that something that you've experienced? Talk to me about cohesive settledness.
I think what almost a flow state where it's okay to take risks.
Yes.
As opposed to this feeling of, if I take a risk, then I'll lose everything, which is that,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that sort of flow state, it's okay to take risks, and things might work out. And if things don't work out, then I'm still okay.
Yeah.
And for me, flow state can actually sometimes isn't a fast place. It's a
No, right. Right.
It's a grounded place, and
Right.
I see what to do next, and I can do what I see to do next. And if I don't know what to do next, I'm okay to wait till I do know what I know. And until the next idea emerges.
Right. When you're talking, I'm hearing like there's a trust in the flow state. There's a trust that, as I heard you say, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
I can take a risk, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, I'll be okay. So there's a kind of like a okayness, but also if I don't know, I can sit and wait, like it'll come.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you notice as we're talking about this? What happens?
Yeah, I'm noticing this is the bit where I get a bit teary, where I feel like,
yeah.
and yeah, that would be nice, but is it even possible? you know, coming in a bit as well.
Yeah. Okay, so if we were going to do more of a voice dialogue kind of a process, I can hear that there's probably some parts of you that are quite active in this dynamic, that you start moving energetically towards flow state, feeling in that direction. You start moving with your awareness and your focus towards the possibility of cohesive settledness, and a part comes up and says, oh, we can't have that. So just to name, okay, there's a part here that doubts. So if we were going to do voice dialogue process, we might meet that part, find out about where they come from, what the history is, and what they're trying to do with you. My sense in this time together is I want to focus a bit more on the nervous system.
Yeah.
But just to acknowledge there's a part here who does that.
Yeah.
So and likely, I'm going to guess that likely the times in your life where you start feeling or reaching or moving towards something more settled, that part likely comes in and stops your tracks and diverts you. Or you can tell me if that's not true.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Okay.
So sometimes it feels like life has done that in other ways, and so this part just goes,
Yes.
remember then, remember then.
Let me give you all the evidence. Let me remind you. Yeah. Okay.
But that's
okay. So we're describing, so what you really want from our time together is to find yourself dropped into a flow state, feeling that okayness to take risks, an okayness that things might work out and they might not, but either way, we're okay. And a sense of, I'm also okay to wait till inspiration comes if I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So what would be different in your life if that was happening?
I think actually, if I had this okayness to wait, I'd probably be a lot more productive.
Yes.
But I tend to spend unreasonable amounts of time just in my head because I don't know what to do, and I feel like there's something I should be doing that I don't know what it is, and or that I have to do something that's doomed to fail.
So kind of chasing your own tail. So if you were in a flow state, you would be more productive.
Yeah.
So use your time. Yeah.
Yeah. There'd be more adventures and more fun, friendship, and maybe that's productive. I don't like that word, but
yeah, well, I mean, I'm like, the feeling is more of a joyful momentum, like, yes, we're just in life and a bum ba dum ba dum, we're doing the thing, here we go, this is good, life is good. It's kind of more like that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So bum ba dum ba dum, that's what we want. Okay. Yeah. Okay, nice. So okay, so always when we turn our attention to what we want, the body, so the parts of us respond, like that part that just came in and said, well, we can't have that, but also our body and nervous system responds. So right now, as we look at this topic of this desire of flow state and feeling more productive, more adventurous, having more fun, more friendship, more more of a sense of yes, momentum. What happens in you as we're talking about that now?
Now I am finding myself a bit more dropped in, a bit more settled in yes. my body. Yes. Yeah, there's still a bit of tightness around the throat and still a bit of dangling at the edges, but there is this sense of,
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Let yourself have that. And maybe if you even want to let your hand do that gesture again, that it's like an out breath, maybe something feels, yeah, just kind of just to let yourself enjoy stretching into that. Something's a bit more settled. And noticing, as we sit here, that might change and shift, but noticing how settled shows up, noticing where you feel it in your body.
Mm.
And if you feel open to that, you could just describe what you're experiencing so I can track it with you.
Yeah, it almost feels like there's something supportive behind me and like almost like sinking back into a hammock when you
Mm-hmm.
in a hammock and it folds itself
Yes.
around you.
Yes, right. Really, really got you. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let yourself enjoy that. Like, oh yeah, just like that. Almost imagining you could sink back into that hammock, or can sometimes even feel like sinking down into a bath, like everything can let go. Noticing if you want to shift your posture at all so you can really feel that sinking back.
It's
Yeah.
almost even like I would enjoy that swinging.
Yes, I can see that. Yeah. Let yourself, I just saw that like a bit of a forward backwards rocky. Yeah, yeah. So let yourself have that. That's very, it can be very, very soothing just
Mm.
to have that. So yeah, like bit of rocking and the breath that's coming a bit deeper. All the time in the world. And if the mind needs a job, it can just track what this feels like, track sensations, what it's like to feel that enclosing hammock.
I'm also really enjoying that there's a gentle breeze coming in the window behind me and the curtains are
Mm-hmm.
sound.
Yes, right. Yeah, like the environment is joining with you.
Mm.
Yeah. How is that? What do you notice?
Mm. Yeah, it's nice. It kind of feels like time to wake up a little bit.
I can see that. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe we can just notice like what's different. You just had a little dip. We call that a little dip down into some parasympathetic rest for a moment, that sense of almost like a swaddling and then the breeze and rocking. Noticing what's the same, what's different. Yeah, anything you want to share, sensations, temperature, movement.
There was this coming out almost organic, what is stretch kind of thing. And then there was this teary moment again where it's just like,
Yes.
that's what that's what I've always wanted.
Yeah. Yes.
Um,
Right.
and
Tears are
then
very
that's
welcome. Right.
yeah, and then that's kind of just, it's like that washes off just like the stretch washes off, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, and Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And what's there's more alertness.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like right.
And now there's a readiness for.
Yes. 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 Great. So what's happening, this happens through a session. We kind of do waves like this with the nervous system. You'll meet some of feeling the jangles, and then we might find ourselves in a bit of a settling. And then we come out of the settling, okay, ready for the next piece.
Yeah.
So your body's kind of telling us when it's ready to, okay, go another layer deeper with the content. So this is where we can go, start looking a little bit more specifically about what happens in life at the moment around these themes. Because I like this to not just be an experience you have where your nervous system settles, and that's lovely, thank you very much. But it's also, okay, like how am I actually doing this cycle?
Yeah.
What is it that happens, and can we go into that more finer lived sequence? Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
So the pattern that you described is that movement between the stuckness and the shutdown and the I need to change. There's an urgency. So we're naming that's part of the theme we're looking at. Does this tend to happen? You talked about resources. So is this something that happens around finances or just general life direction? And even as I'm naming these things again, just noticing what your body is doing as I name them, you might feel a bit more
Yeah.
electricity, and yeah.
Yeah. Finances is part of it. I don't think that's
Okay.
And again, like financially, whether it's safe to take a risk or not, whether I can financially back myself, or whether I need to save everything to get somewhere different.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing. I think it's also so like social support and resources in some ways. I'm a single parent. Two of my kids are now young adults, but they're very dependent young adults, not just financially, but also, with their need profiles. And, navigating how much can I actually hold? How much I expect of myself? How much can I commit to? When is going to be the next disaster?
Okay. Yeah. So just in naming that, I want to come back again to just noticing how your body is responding, because your body has a story to tell around this life situation as well. And when you're describing it, it's kind of like I hear a bit of the flavor of worry. Like there's what do I do there? And well, what about that? And when's the next thing coming? And yeah.
The shutdown end is creeping in a little bit as I start to, like all these factors that actually they might change, and they do change. Like, kids need to change as you go from babies to toddlers to young adults, but the timing of that is not about anything I do.
It's not in accordance with your growth, and well, it is, but with your needs as a woman.
Things you can do better, but that create more space, but there's lots of outside factors as well.
Yes. So you just said that a bit of that shutdowny kind of energy is coming in. I want to just invite you to take another look around the room. And again, take in the objects. Maybe you want to take in the candle or anything else that you notice. So when the physiology starts kind of giving signals, oh, I'm starting to get overwhelmed, we can come out of attention on here, bring attention to the external environment. It's like giving you a hook to here and now. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just noticing what's different when you take a look around the space. Do you notice anything when you take things in?
It does feel like I feel like I was only just noticing the edges of that shutdown, but it does feel like the sort of reoriented away from that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's it makes sense, and that's good information that there's something about when you stack the things that you worry about on top of each other, body goes into overwhelm. Ooh. And as you said, it feels like external things coming in, or external things that aren't in your locus of control. So that can take us to overwhelm because we don't have a sense of being in control of it.
Yeah.
So there's practical things we can do with that, is being really aware of the worrying mind that likes to be like a vacuum, sucking in, I'll worry about that, or what about that thing, you know, and that stacks the stresses. Yeah. And I also just want to stay a little closer with you. I'm really curious what's happening right now.
I think everything's okay. I've got that mental image of a vacuum. It's quite, I feel like that's quite a handy one to just be able to go, oh, when is the vacuum cleaner on, and when, and it feels like a visualization I could use. Okay, we can turn that off.
Oh. Turn it off at the PowerPoint. Yeah.
That's the one.
Right. Yeah. Great. So what happens when you go, oh, okay, that's something I can use, that's helpful, that I could just visualize that, press stop. How does that touch you?
Yeah, I think it's another layer of that reorientation of,
yeah.
Okay, so that's, now I know that's what's going on. Yeah, and other things make a little bit more sense.
Great. Gives you a bit more space, huh, to see maybe you're a bit more above it than going under.
Yeah.
Great. So just kind of give yourself some time here to feel how we're a bit more above, and there is a sense of, okay, I've got some more insights. Yeah, where are you going?
So there was a settledness, and from that settledness I was able to notice that the edge of that gotta move coming. And I sort of, yeah, that's there, that's okay. And then sort of also noticing, oh, it's like there's more appearing on the there's more appearing on the map. It feels, and then there's this. Does this mean I've got to go somewhere? Kind of response to that. You know, I could almost see a map, like come and colors emerging on that map, and then it's like, oh, now I might have to
actually take some kind of action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's leave that to the side for a moment. Action will become clear if it's needed. Yeah. So, and when you say the map is solidifying in front of you, is that a sense of you getting more of a sense of the territory? Does that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. When I'm listening to you, you know, I want to acknowledge what a massive, impossible job it is to raise children by yourself. It's not I want to say it's not sane. It's probably not sane. Just to name, I just want to normalize that it can be crazy making to do something that's that big a job by ourselves, and it's something that's happening with so many women, so many family systems, I should say. So I just want to normalize that, yeah, that's part of a natural response to something that's really big, and there's a way that it calls us as beings, as women, as adults, as humans, to kind of develop these superpowers of what's the word? Focus or commitment. So here I am, I've got this life situation and something's calling me to something, whatever that is. I need, you know, there's a response that's required when we have these dependents and we have ourselves, and, you know.
Yeah.
In offering that, I just want to name what my intention in offering that is, pointing to the possibility that this can absolutely grow you into more of yourself in a really grounded, clear, empowered way. And there's a journey there, but you know, we go on a journey for that.
Yeah, and I think that focused, superpowery sort of, you know, as you were talking about that bit, I feel like in some ways, I feel like that's the bit I've always had trouble with, is having that, you know, vision for your goal, and you go there and you chase that thing, and I'm like,
yeah,
I feel like that's something I don't do well, but maybe it's actually like that's an expectation.
So, yes. Oh gosh. Okay, so that's not the intention here. Absolutely.
No, I know it's not your intention.
Not the intention to infer that it needs to be done like that.
No, yeah. No. But it's just the way those particular words hit. They draw on that narrative that I should be.
Right. So,
and I be able to line things up and do it anyway. And if you want it enough, you'll do it no matter what. And it's like, I can't operate.
No, that's not what's here. Yeah.
Not the way for me. And I need to be wary of, like, just going, that's why I'm a failure. You know?
Yes. Okay. Thank you for letting me know that. So, you know, if anything doesn't land, chuck it on the slag heap. And absolutely, that hand that's going, that's not for me. That's not the way I do that. So the way those words landed, no, that's just not how this system works. Just feeling how it is to have a no to that and a boundary to that. No, I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to pressure myself to be that shape or be that way? What if how you are is just perfect for who you are and what's evolving here?
Yeah, and I think that that dominant narrative is so dominant that when it is, it's like, no, I don't want to be like that. That's a choice I can make, but then it becomes, so now what do I do with all this? You know.
So you don't want to be that, I've got a goal, I'm going for it. This is, you know, you don't want to be that, that's not right for you. How do you want to be?
I want to be gentle and organic and able to reach down into the depths, not just, you know, grow up for the light as quickly as possible. It's like, it's reach out.
Rooted, yeah.
Let's be part of an ecosystem that actually supports this. Just that. Just get over there as quickly as possible, kind of thing.
Yes, right. I want to be rooted. I want to reach down into the depths. I want to be feel myself as part of the ecosystem, just like when you were resting back in the hammock before and the breeze was blowing and the curtains were joining in, this sense of connectedness. Yeah. That gentle, organic responsiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that feel when you name that so clearly?
Yeah, it almost takes me back into the hammock, or more in the forest and being among trees and yeah.
Right. Something I can hear when I'm looking at you, and I can hear in your voice something's more centered, something. Yeah. The body is such a great communicator. When we're speaking truth, it's like energetically everything just comes in, has resonance.
They're more expansive feeling as well.
Nice. Yeah. Just let yourself hang out with that sense of expansiveness. And you might notice your breathing is changing a little, or the tone in the muscles.
Yeah, I like that place. I could stay there a long time.
Well, okay, if it feels accessible still, I'd love to, I'd love to be with you while you stay there. Like you said, it's expansive. Like you see how much you can expand into that space. How wide, how deep. Noticing the quality of the space.
Mm.
Yeah. Taking in how it is to be reaching into your own depths.
Mm. Yeah, it's very nourishing. It's very restful as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. How do you notice the nourishing or the restful? What tells you it's nourishing or restful?
I think for me, like there is this quietness in my body that I notice, and my mind is literally just in, like, literally imagining myself in a forest that I know really well. It feels like home to me, and it's just the color of the moss, just the smell of the ground, just the, and it's not, yeah, it feels just like being there.
Yes, you're right. You're receiving that medicine, that
Yeah.
settling. Yeah. How is that for you to be seeing and sensing and feeling the nourishment of that beautiful place, that nature place? How is that for you?
Yeah, really nice. Really nice. It's just this okayness that comes back.
Right. Tell me more about the okayness.
Just like that place doesn't want anything in particular from me. It's just and it's not doing anything in particular to me in some direct way. It's just
it's very right, like that.
yeah.
Right. It's like an open-handed holding kind of. Yeah. And that's touching. Huh? Something very relaxing about that.
Yeah.
The okayness. So the okayness is related to a sense of not being demanded of, not being done to, not having to do. Yeah. So what you're describing is very much the descriptive words we'd use for this more parasympathetic rest digest kind of end of the spectrum. And yeah, when we've been more habitually in the up and gotta do, or I've got too much and I've got to shut it down, this is where the nervous system takes us. This is the medicine that you need. So I notice with sessions, when we come into a session like this, the nervous system will take us to parasympathetic settling if that's the balance that's needed.
Yeah.
If the seesaw's been up for too long, it's just gonna want to do that.
Yeah.
So if we were to, I don't feel to take us into the more challenging content again. I feel like this is a really good place to be. So if we were going to do another session, we'd come back and keep grounding the parasympathetic as more of a familiar place. And then from that place, just start kind of touching on some of those stress pathways and practicing discharging and also coming back to that settle, so your whole nervous system state can learn to do that much more flexibly. Can you tell I'm being a seesaw?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to let you know that there's that potential. We could potentially do a series of sessions as these demo sessions to kind of show how we move with this content. And I feel that we're starting to move towards completion.
Yeah.
So from this place that you're in right now, I want to talk about things that can be incorporated into your life, but I just want to come back to your original desire and intention to be more in a flow state, to have a cohesive settledness, to be more okay to take risks either way that they go, to have more of a sense of leading to more of a sense of productiveness, adventure, fun, friendship, and that gentle, organic dropping down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, from this place, it's a lot of words. From this place, we just want to check how you're relating to your intention now.
Yeah. It certainly feels like from here more of that intention is all possible, and that I think I'm also feeling like I need to digest this and practice a bit, and then
yes,
if there's ways of seesawing in and out of yes. and that's in some ways that's the practice of actually go away, come back and reorient, sort of.
Yeah, that's right. So the way that I've described that is, if we're in a bit of a loop, we've got to practice stepping out of the loop, catching the loop, stepping out. I think that's what you're saying. Catch it, step out, and just start to interrupt that cycle that's been there before. And some of the things, I'll send this to you after the session, but some of the things that stood out was when the topics are stacked on each other, the way that can, like the nervous system can go up, and then I'm overwhelmed. So the vacuum cleaner, switching it off at the wall.
Yeah.
Another great metaphor is imagining that your worries are a hot potato, and like mid-word, mid-sentence, oh, that's that thing that makes me unable to do anything. Just dropping it mid-sentence, not following it, not feeding it. And it sounds like nature is very much medicine, and it's like nature's your people.
Yeah.
So yeah, like prioritizing that somehow, you know. Maybe even on those days where you wake up, I don't know what to do today. Well, nature does that awesome thing with your nervous system, brings you out of the zzz, helps.
Yeah.
That's how it feels good. Okay, great. Anything you need to say to feel complete today?
No.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for going on a journey with me.
Thank you. Thank you. Shall we talk with the video off for a little bit, just logistic stuff?